Back in 2012, when the only brand new plug-in cars you could buy in large parts of the world were the Nissan Leaf hatchback and the Chevrolet Volt, or Opel Ampera, or Holden Volt, depending on where you lived, the Renault ZOE burst onto the electric car scene in Europe. Smaller in size to the Leaf, the Super Mini hatchback featured a 22 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack and a 66 kilowatt electric motor. It also featured a unique, versatile chameleon charger that could refill the car's battery pack from a variety of different power sources, from a standard 240 volt domestic charging station all the way up to a three-phase 50 kilowatt AC quick charge station. As three-phase power is more common in Europe for homes and businesses than it is in other parts of the world, it also meant that ZOE owners could recharge their cars far more quickly than some of the ZOE's competition, using relatively inexpensive 22 kilowatt AC charging stations. Since its launch, the Renault ZOE has gone through several iterative improvements to its design and specification, gaining a larger 40 kilowatt-hour battery pack and more powerful motor in the last few years, as well as an improved, more efficient onboard charger. But despite those internal changes, the ZOE's basic design has remained the same as it was when it launched 7 years ago. Earlier this week, Renault officially unveiled the new 2020 Renault ZOE, due to go on sale in Europe this summer. And it seems that Renault has decided to stick with the old mantra of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because for this new incarnation of the ZOE, Renault has kept the outside of the iconic hatch almost the same as its predecessor. Sure, there are a few nips and tucks, but for the most part, very little has changed. But underneath and inside, there are a whole host of changes that will make the new Renault ZOE a very popular car indeed. So popular, in fact, I think that it's going to be quite a lot of the competition in the subcompact and super mini marketplaces. I'm going to walk you through some of these new changes now and explain why I think this car is going to be a really solid offering, even though I've not yet driven one. But before I do, I just want to note that although Renault has released specs today, there's not a whole lot of video footage available yet. So what you're seeing here is pretty much all we've got. Let's start with the battery. In keeping with the gradual battery capacity increases over previous versions of the ZOE, the new ZOE comes with a 52 kilowatt-hour battery pack, 50 kilowatt hours of which will be made available to the driver, meaning it's officially going to be called the Renault ZOE 50. Under the WLTP range tests, Renault is quoting a range of up to 390 kilometers per charge, which is pretty impressive. To put that into context, the 2019 Nissan Leaf E Plus with a 62 kilowatt-hour battery pack is rated at 385 kilometers per charge on the same test cycle. Then, of course, there's charging. While rumours of a 100 kilowatt CCS quick charge capability have proven to be false, the ZOE 50's CCS quick charge port, yes, CCS, can accept up to 50 kilowatts of DC quick charging power. That's a little low considering 100 kilowatts is becoming the norm, until you remember that this is a small, compact city car that's not designed to be a super long-ranged vehicle. Add in the fact that the new ZOE 50 continues to allow single and three-phase charging up to 22 kilowatts, and I think it's a pretty versatile car to charge. Alongside that new battery pack and charging setup, the ZOE 50 will come with a choice of 80 kilowatt or 100 kilowatt motors. They are smaller than the motors in other electric vehicles on the marketplace, but when equipped with the 100 kilowatt motor, Renault is giving a 0 to 100 kph time of less than 10 seconds, which is enough for most people. So far, it probably feels like an evolution rather than a revolution for the new ZOE, and you'd be right. Inside, however, the ZOE has been thoroughly redesigned in a way that I think makes it a lot less quirky and a lot more grown up. In addition to all of the new standard fit items that weren't on previous ZOEs, things like blind spot warning, auto hold, traffic sign recognition, lane keep assist, lane departure warning, and emergency braking, to name a few, the interior gets a new 10-inch driver dashboard that reminds me quite a lot of Nissan's Pro Pilot Ready Dash in the Leaf. as well as a brand new 9.3-inch touchscreen display that's compatible with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. There's wireless charging for your smartphone as well as a new connectivity and smartphone app that Renault says includes better route planning between charging stations. Gone is the more plasticky looking dash panels, and in their place, there's something that's much more in keeping with what you'd find in other Renaults today. From a distance, it's almost as if Renault has stopped making an electric car that needs to constantly remind you that it's a frugal electric car, and instead it's designed a vehicle that looks like and is finished like pretty much every other car from the Renault family, but which just happens to have an electric powertrain. The new interior does also feature recycled materials throughout, so +1 for greener manufacturing. Personally, I think this is all super important because it does away with making customers feel that they have to go without in order to get an electric car. Granted, I've not sat in it yet, and it may be more plasticky than it looks in the photographs, but it certainly seems to have improved in terms of interior content. So far then, we've got a much better battery pack, an improved interior and drivetrain, and an efficiency that's far better than a lot of other electric cars out there. But the real reason I think the new Zoe will sell is because of its price. While Renault hasn't yet officially confirmed the pricing, Renault executives have told numerous news outlets that they intend to keep the Renault ZOE 50 similarly priced to its predecessor, as well as undercutting new offerings like the Peugeot E208, Honda E, Volkswagen ID3, and recently announced Opel Corsa E. I've heard prices banded around between £18,000 sterling with a £50 battery rental per month up to about £22,000 without battery rental. And if those prices are accurate, I've used British pounds here because that's been the currency that the majority of the pricing information I've seen this week has been in, then the new Zoe could practically fly off dealer lots. Given how much we liked the Renault Zoe the first time we drove one almost 7 years ago, though, I am very eager to see how much this new and improved Zoe, with better suspension and all-round disc brakes to boot, drives. Sadly, I'm now the wrong side of the Atlantic to find out, but that won't stop me from trying to get hold of one the next time I'm in Europe. Watch this space. That's it. Thanks for watching. Let us know if you liked it or you didn't like it below. Scribble a comment, hit the notification bell and support us through Patreon, Ko-fi, or by buying something from our swag shop. I'll be back soon with another episode, but until then, as always, keep evolving.